Hello, happy Thursday. Thursday is the day ruled by Jupiter, but more important than that today is that Chiron goes retrograde. Whenever a planet goes retrograde, it is a review of the energy that that planet carries. And so Chiron is the planet of the wounded healer. So what is the collective wound? What is your wound that you carry into your human experience? What do you need to heal? What are the lessons that you are choosing to amplify that trauma that you're holding on to, because that is your core wound of your spirit that is actually written on the cell memory of your being. And so if you remember, I talked about this yesterday and even in last night's meditation class, that Chiron is now in Aries. And Aries energy, historically, he was the father of these powerful twins, right? Eris and Eros, with this deep sibling rivalry that has really etched itself into the collective wound of all humanity. That man would be doomed to be a slave to his desires, but not just desires, but shallow desires, and unable to witness Goddess in her truest embodiment of her God self. And so instead be swayed by desire and led to the lesser Eve, to just the shallow shell of a version of what true love is. God, can I speak? So this is me after 2 sessions already and no break, like no dance break. So this is me like having a really hard time being human right now, trying to be in my body. So what is the energy that you carry in that? Do you feel that abandonment wound, that you feel that you would never be first choice in the eyes of your chosen male partner? Or that rejection? Do you feel that in your deepest being? And so what is your Chiron wound? So moving through this retrograde all the way until December, like this is a long retrograde for us to heal it for the collective. What you do for one, you do for all. And so just feel into that. What is your core wound? What is the repeating pattern that's like amplifying your wounds for you? And so the ascended masters that showed up for me today is the Holy Spirit, expect miracles. And she showed up for me before, as you can see, because I was like, yeah, we own that. I'm all about expecting miracles. And Thursday being the day ruled by Jupiter, this is the planet of abundance. So to receive the expect miracles on a Jupiter day, like, I am there with my eyes closed and hands open, ready to receive in my deepest feminine. And so Archangel Raziel showed up, and Raziel says to take my power back. And I've been working on this, reclaiming my birthright as a powerful and psychic goddess, and learning to see myself. Instead of telling everyone, I wish you could see you how I see you, but instead turning the tables and saying, I wish I could see me how they see me. And so there's a couple select soul sisters that I know that really see me, and the way that they address me, it really speaks deeply and resonates deeply into my core. And so I've asked Spirit, help me see me the way they see me. And I aspire to that. And so Mahao Chohan Raghusi, teacher, the teacher card, he is actually the ascended master that was the teacher of Saint Germain, and really embodies that violet flame energy of purity and love. And I had even called Lisa. Well, we were already talking this morning. And she's so well read. She is literally like a walking volume of information. And I said, literally, I've had this deck for years, and I don't remember ever pulling this dude for me. And so I had to read the meaning of the card, and it talks about meeting someone that, even though the relationship was maybe painful or intensely harsh, that was my teacher to show me what I needed to heal to stop a pattern. So I would just like to look into the camera and say, thank you, Edgar, for doing that for me, for being my teacher. So, and what do I need to release? That repeating pattern, obviously. And that is the waning moon. And then the pulsing earth. I love this card because it talks about, and I talk about this energy when I do my guided grounding meditations. And so that energy of the Great Mother, how it moves into your body, it is such a balancing, beautiful frequency that delicious moves through you. And it is balancing, and she is the epitome of true mother, that she is ever dependable, and she can't help herself but help you heal. So it like drains all of that heavier energy out of your body, and how she holds you. She's ever vigilant and supportive. So even when you forget to support yourself, she is there. And so I love this card. And so the goddess of creation, talking about how I am now in a phase of transformation, like, yeah, I be knowing that because that shit is intense. But it also talks about creativity and creation. So when you heal something and release something and it creates that newly open space, always be aware of not leaving it open, right? Because you want to fill it with good, not allow yourself to be a magnet for like vampires or someone that wants to cord into you to get into that. So fill it with light, fill it with gratitude, and then create from that space. And you can feel your spirit even expanding and taxing the confines of the earth suit. And I love that. And maybe that's why I hold myself like so radically accountable for the energy to expand in me, but also to say, I see that, we're gonna heal that right now. And I call it out and I work on it, and I am always ready to meet that challenge and to do that. And so the sacred geometry that showed up today is the mountain messengers. And so I always go into the spiritual message of the card. It's never about my reality, because my reality has already rated itself. So if you're experiencing something really, and I talked about this yesterday, that's out of harmony or out of alignment, you have to look within. And I am no longer in those experiences of, feeling like into the conspiracies and all of that. That's not my reality. But I'm not in the spiritual bypassing of ignoring it. So if someone else brings that to me, it is now in my reality and I have to accept it. So I say, hand it over. And now I am going to tell you how I'm responsible for this. And so usually now when I'm handed something like that, that's not usually in my reality, but it's brought to me, I know that it's created on the source level. So this is something now that I have to take all the way back to zero, to the source, and say, I'm going to take this back to the point before this energy even existed, and humble myself and say, I'm responsible for this. I created this. Please forgive me. And thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for bringing that to me. So mountain messengers showed up in the reverse. And so in the reverse, it talks about making that connection. But in in the human realm, it says you need to connect to animals. So like that's the shallow end of it. But I am progressed enough in my path that I know that this card in the reverse is actually telling me to connect to my animal nature. What parts of me are animal? What parts of me operate off instinct? Because that's how animals operate. And animals are actually a more intelligent being than humans. And humans believe that we're the hierarchy, right? But they also make the agreement to be sacrificed. So the whole idea of like not eating animal or animal products was a human thing. Animals know that there is a point that they may be sacrificed. Now, treating them humanely is important. And also to be offering that deep, heartfelt gratitude for their sacrifice is so important. It's so important to do that. I'm not telling you to do one thing or the other. You have to follow your soul and say, this feels right or this feels wrong, and follow it. That's the point of spirituality, is that there's no hard-nosed box to get in that will say, this is the perfect recipe for transcendence. Do that. Because you know what? A whole lot of people are full of shit when it comes to that, and holding people to very strict guidelines. And guess what? That's why they ain't transcendent, I'll tell you that. And so that is ignoring that everyone has a unique path. I am feeling this song. So the fates showed up in reverse also for me. And this just echoes the sentiment of the relationship that I had, where it says, you know, why do painful things happen to good people? Painful things happen to good people because it's teaching you that you still hold a certain trauma or wound in your body, and you're magnetizing that to yourself. And so to see it from a new angle, to give you a new perspective, and to teach you compassion through that wound. What did you say? To act without instinct is in a sense self-denial. It is, and I've always said this, to act without that, to act without intuition, to ignore that you are a divine being, and to not be that in every company and in every environment is the deepest level of self-betrayal. So yeah, self-denial. I call it self-betrayal. And no dogma. That's right, no dogma. I don't operate off of hard rules. So if you can't tell. Oh, I forgot to get my Herderite out. Dang it. If I stand up, you're going to see my ass. Because it's in that box that's under Virgil. But Herderite is my ally for the day. And this is a very powerful stone. I mean, I could always turn the camera so you don't see it to get out the Herderite to share, show and tell. But I actually have two pieces of Herderite. I have golden Herderite and I have this beautiful blue-gray Herderite. They're both very powerful, and they're in the Synergy 12 stones. So the Synergy 12 actually is supposedly, so it says, and I do feel that for myself, so not supposedly. It is the most powerful grouping of stones to help your spiritual path and spiritual ascension. And each one represents a zodiac sign, so that thus 12, because it works with the calendar. And so I've actually meditated with these in my own chart around me. I placed them in the houses that they were in. And so I have actually graduated to my progress chart. So I have not put them in the progress chart position. So that would be interesting. I think I'm going to do that. And so each house is also connected to very specific chakras. So you can also place the stones on those chakras. So I knew you would like that, Amanda. Amanda says, wow, amazing. Because she be loving on the stones too, and all the new information about stones, right? So Herderite is the stone of evolution, and I am working through a new evolutionary phase for myself, and it's very powerful. I just came out of this fire phase where I was really like owning my fire, and you could probably tell like I was carrying a lot of Kali energy, a lot, and very fiery. Trying to push myself to be more visible in that fire. And so now the phase that I'm actually coming into in healing is more of the embodiment of the Holy Grail, recognizing myself as that I am that. I am the Holy Grail, and holding others that share energetic space with me accountable, not just myself accountable, but to do that in the most loving, divine, feminine way that I can. And so that whole accountability is the most loving thing that we can do for others. It creates that boundary, but it's also a call to action. Rise up, rise up. Rise up, wise up. Ooh, I'm gonna write me a poem. So, the Cloak of Christ showed up in my Rumi deck. And this Rumi deck be getting me in my feels, man. This is a powerful deck. And, you know, I love that Spirit wanted me to start sharing from this deck instead of the White Oracle, because this does make me emotional. And, so this talks about I'm going to read the Rumi poem, because in the beginning of each of the lessons of the cards, it has a Rumi poem. And it says, in the school of humanity, when you become intimate with God, you reside on the king's throne and teach the angels the nature of the divine. So just feel that for a minute. That's not what we're taught. We are not taught that we can become intimate with God, and that when we do approach him, that we are supposed to humble ourselves. But this is actually saying when you become intimate with God, you sit on the king's throne. That's literally echoing the sentiment of me embodying the Holy Grail. It's literally saying that. And so we embody that energy. It's not about ego. It's about, I also embody that. I also can operate from a place that is radically love and compassion. I can do that. And I am that. Not I can, because I'm not putting that in some future space. I'm not saying I will or I can. I'm saying I am doing that. I do operate from a place that is absent of ego and so permeated and fragrant of love and compassion. Even when I hold someone accountable, it is flavored of love. That's the most loving aspect of being a king or a queen. It is saying, rise up, wise up. If you want to walk with me or sit with me, I'm not saying bow to me, I'm saying sit with me. Aren't they beautiful cards, Amanda? And Amanda says, I feel it from you always. Oh, Amanda, I love you. I receive that. And compliments like that used to literally be painful, but I receive that. Thank you. So that is my spread for the day. I'm going to spare you getting up to get my Herderite, but dang it, know that I have two beautiful pieces of Herderite, and they are wonderful allies in my evolution. It's not Red Bull that gives you wings, it's Herderite. Yeah, come on, laugh at my corny jokes. Anyhow, I love you all. Thank you for sharing your most valuable commodity with me, your time, am your energy. Thank you. And for any disharmony that I myself have created, I am sorry. I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I love you. I love you. Yes, thank you, brother. Oh, it is worth it. Thank you. I received that too. I love you.